Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the GameCast NewsCast. I'm Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula. Joining me this week is Sully.
Hello again.
Yes, he is also here. And joining me, as well as Sully, is Joe Chip.
Hello, disembodied voice.
Yes, you'll notice that we're trying a video thing. Me and Sully have video. Joe does not. That is fine.
Be forgiving.
Yeah, we're just trying. Yeah, eventually. Just trying out a thing, seeing if it works, seeing if it helps us at all. If it doesn't. If it does, don't really care. Anyway,
Let us know, though.
let's start. Yes, let us know what you think. If you want us to put video more prominently, if you want it not at all, whatever, just let us know. But let's start with the traditional segment of Sully. What have you been playing this week?
Starcraft 2 count. We went over it in the previous newscast. Pocket edition. Afraid my nerves.
Don't spoil the magic.
Yeah, don't spoil the magic. I'm doing it again. So many back-to-back recordings. I've just lost track of everything. On another note, though, count, which I haven't shared in the previous podcast, is I picked up that retro CRT giant widescreen CRT TV from the 90s. I don't know what else to call it. Thing for retro gaming, building a retro gaming station. So if you want to see more of that in the future, join our Discord, which should be able to find a link down below the description box. Because I'm going to be slowly putting that together, hopefully getting the Sega Mega Drive as the first console.
I'm officially
you know what you should do,
envious.
Sully?
Yes.
You know what you should do?
Do a video.
You should record it!
Yes.
Do
fucking heard it all before,
make
yeah.
stuff.
I'm working on it, okay? I need something to record with, like, out and about.
A camera, your phone?
No, I don't want to use my phone.
Yeah.
Hate it. My phone memory's shit.
Well, get a better phone then.
Well, I'm due in
Or get
August.
an SD card.
I'm due in August. Look, we'll figure it out,
Okay.
all right? I'll take some good photos in the meantime.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe when I get it all set up, maybe I'll get somebody around to hold my phone or I guess keep it really steady or something. All right. Okay. Just don't detract from the magic, my happy retro station moment, all right? It's meant to be stress-free, not stressful.
Okay. Well, anything else at all, or
No,
is that everything for you?
That's everything.
Okay, so that's what Sully's been playing. And now, Joe, what have you been playing this week?
Bit of dangerous driving. And
Whoa.
Oh, is that good?
it is, yeah. It's kind of, it's Burnout, basically. It is Burnout.
Yeah.
It's some of the guys who worked on Burnout, so they kind of know what they're doing. It's obviously hasn't got the budget that the Burnout games had. And you can see it with certain, things, cut corners and things in certain areas, loading screens, that kind of thing, not as good. It's not quite as slick as Burnout. It hasn't got a soundtrack, for instance. If you want a soundtrack, you kind of need...
That's weird.
Well, I think they had some issues with getting the rights to music and stuff. So what they've done is they've made it so that you can actually use Spotify. If you've got a Spotify account, paid account, you can actually load your own music. So I actually played
that
it
on Wikipedia. That's really weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
because a soundtrack goes a long way in terms of like defining a game.
Yeah, it really sets a good tone. It's like I love. But one of the reasons I love Burnout 3 in particular is because it has a really great soundtrack.
Count, could you imagine like playing Doom but listening to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack through Spotify? Like without
I mean, to be honest, I'd find that quite funny.
Yeah, that would be good actually, but it's something different, but not in place.
You picked a poor example there. That sounds quite good.
Slaying demons to Cherry. What is the song called? Cherry Bomb or whatever.
Oh, Hillary really hates Cherry Bomb. I quite like it, but she can't stand it.
Get out.
I know.
I quite like that track. But I actually was playing it with, funny you should say Burnout 3, because I was actually playing it with the Burnout 3 soundtrack, because I loaded up Spotify.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, smart
choice.
See, the problem is I don't have a Spotify account.
What? Not even a free one?
I can't be asked.
Yeah,
I don't use it. I just get stuff on iTunes. Mate.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But
fair enough.
Is this...
I respect the artist. You don't get anything for a stream on Spotify.
Yeah, I get plenty though.
I'm supporting local indie bands. What are you doing?
Listening to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume Mixtape 2 for free?
Yeah, I got it on CD, so it's fine.
Alright, well, fuck. I suppose you haven't got it on fucking records.
Give it time.
I mean, I could go out and buy it.
Yeah, it's gonna go hit it up right now. If you do, share pictures.
What I can do, because this is going to be a video podcast, well, partly, I can show the vinyls that I bought, because I have them. I have them down here.
You know, it'd be
you
cool...
can't see this yet.
Yeah, yet.
What would be cool?
If we did, it would be cool if we had like a show and tell segment, to like, you know, in addition to or in place of what are you playing? What did you buy this week?
What did I buy? I bought this.
We'd be here for several hours.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's the new album by Allegiant. It's great. Go buy it if you like heavy metal. It's technical death metal, but it's got a lot of melody to it as well. Now I've got to put this back in. Anything else then at all, Joe? Actually, where could you get Dangerous Driver for PC? Because I know you can get it for PC. But it's not on Steam and it's not on the Windows Store.
That's a good question, because I got it on Xbox, so I haven't looked into it on PC.
Yeah, you can get it on PS4. I know that.
Yeah, it's available on PS4 as well. Yeah, I really don't know actually on PC. I've not looked into it on PC, so I can't answer that one, unfortunately.
I'm struggling to find it.
Yeah, I know.
Really
I actually struggled to buy it, actually. I went out and bought a physical copy, and I ended up buying it in Argos, because Game didn't have it, and I couldn't get it off Amazon.
Argos?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Places.
Yeah. But it is a good game. If you like Burnout, you'll like this. I say there's no soundtrack. It has got one, for the menus. It plays some music when you're playing the menus.
Yeah.
But when you're playing the game, it hasn't actually got its own music.
Oh, that's why. Epic fucking game store.
Oh, Christ. So, yeah.
I might get it on PS4 then. Yeah, spoiler alert, Epic Games are in this one. Actually, you've probably seen that in the title, but yeah.
Quite a good segue.
Anything
there,
else
then
at all, Joe?
Well, I mentioned this to you earlier. I did have a quick go on Streets of Rage. That was on the Xbox, the Sega Mega Drive collection thing, which I thought was actually I don't own it. It was owned by my partner's father, and
I didn't know you could get the physical release of a collection. Like
yeah. So I had a look at that. I quite liked it actually, and it was quite fitting because I've just pre-ordered the Mega Drive Classic, which is up for pre-orders now. Talking of
much
which,
better pre-order proposition than the PlayStation Classic.
Oh Christ! They keep giving releases, and it's like every time they talk about the bloody thing, I'm more excited.
Joe and Count, you guys probably appreciate this. The analog systems for the Mega Drive. The Mega Drive just came out by Analogue, and they did a SNES version last year. And essentially, what these guys do is they reverse engineer the hardware of the original consoles so that you can plug the carts in, and there's no emulation. It runs off like the hardware.
Oh yes, I like those.
Really slick systems in terms of reproducing directly from the carts via hardware rather than emulation. So
I want really one of those badly.
The best. Are you aware of them, Joe?
Yeah. I've been following them since they did the NES one, the really expensive NES one.
Yeah.
And when they announced it, beautiful stuff. The NES one was like a slab of aluminium. Did you see that? The first one
really
they released.
Nice. Yeah,
it was ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, I think they've marginally come down in price since the original one they released, but the Mega Drive version, I think it was the Mega Drive for the 16-bit carts just released. So,
nice.
God, how much was that? I think it was $189 USD. I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's about 150 quid, I think.
Yeah, but we're talking like it's the definitive way to play your old games on an HD TV. It hooks up via HDMI and it natively outputs 1080p. It's not doing any weird upscaling through the cable onto the TV. Like, it's producing that image via the hardware as native 1080p, I believe, from my understanding.
And the guy, the engineer who worked on this, has been described by various people as a magician because of what he's managed to do with it.
Yes.
I covet that thing so much.
Joe,
I nearly pre-ordered
pick
one.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I really must. I really must get one of those. I'd love to have one of those. So yeah, it's definitely on my radar.
My wish list.
Yep.
On that note, then, so that's what Joe's been playing. What have I been playing then?
Pokemon.
So aside, what?
Pokemon.
Yeah, aside from Pokemon, been playing Heart Gold. It's great. I have. See, I had something I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it bloody was now. Fuck. I have been. Well, I've been watching Star Trek.
Just
Which
Discovery. Yeah, Discovery. It's the newer one. The second season has just ended. It's much better than the first season. I can tell you that for nothing.
Quite enjoyable.
Good,
a few little interesting points that stretch a little bit too far without spoilers.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I didn't enjoy the first series a huge amount, but I
found
enjoyed
it hard
the
to get
second
into.
series a lot.
Joe, I think I've been telling people this one's a lot more back to basic Trek in terms of a bit more exploration and mystery.
It feels like actually watching Star Trek rather than someone's gritty reimagining of it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the next season will be very interesting as well.
Yes, because they have confirmed a series 3, and without spoiling,
that's
going to be completely. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, if this doesn't trigger to watch it. I don't know what will, but less canon restrictions. So,
yes,
that should prompt anybody to watch it. If anybody says that, because if you're not up to date how that works, it would boggle your mind. So. Good though, yeah, good fun. I still have some gripes, and we'll talk about this, I guess, in an episode at some point. But
get me onto that. If you want to talk about Star Trek, tell me when, and I'll make sure I watch them all. I'd love to get on Star Trek.
Done. Yeah, go watch it, Joe. Have you seen any of it yet, Discovery?
I saw the first 4 episodes of the first season.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better from that point.
Probably gets worse. There's a couple of episodes in Series 1 that are worth watching. I'd say most of Series 2 is pretty worth watching. I'd say it's a lot better.
The middle bit of that Series 2, top, really good. Just how it all starts unfolding, like it just kind of it goes from that breadcrumb trail into just like whoomp.
Yeah, it goes through sort of monster of the week kind of bread trail to like, oh wow, everything's actually connected together.
Yeah.
It's done pretty seamlessly as well. It's not like, oh, all of this stuff is now suddenly connected out of nowhere. What? So it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, check it out, Joe.
Cool. It's got me wanting to watch it now then.
Yeah, definitely check that out. I have also... Well, I just bought Zoo Tycoon with the DS on eBay. And
did you buy a
Harry
DS
Potter
too?
Quidditch World Cup on. No.
Oh, I thought you said you bought a DS as well as the game.
I've got like 5 DSs. I don't need another one.
I would be shocked.
Although, on that note, since the last newscast, I bought a Pokemon Game Boy Color. It's the yellow one with Pikachu's on it.
Pick it up.
Yes.
Show and tell.
I haven't got it in here.
Come on, mate.
Stick a photo up.
It is...
Yeah.
Yeah, I can stick a photo up. It's bright yellow. It's great. I had to take it apart to clean out the insides a bit. The start button wasn't working properly. And the D-pad was registering inputs, like, sporadically.
How'd you rectify that?
I took it apart, got to the PCB. There was some gunk on the contact for the start pad, so I cleaned that off. Just did it with my finger. It was nice and easy. And underneath all of the buttons, there's like a little sort of rubbery pads, just to sort of press down and hit the contacts. And on the D-pad, that was particularly dirty. In fact, the D-pad itself was just covered in crap, which I ended up scraping up with a screwdriver because it was real bad.
Apparently, with those pads, right, there's a little secret hack. Is that other than grime, you obviously get all the grime off, but they go shiny, or they're not meant to be shiny. So I've seen a lot of people online just get a bit of paper and treat that pad like a bit of a razor. They'll just wipe down the paper like one little quick streak and just remove that sheen, and apparently it brings it up perfectly. So
it works perfectly fine. That's great.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but I'm also planning on using that as my my test to get a backlight in when they released that kit.
Which one did you get? Sorry, is this a color?
Yeah, it's a color. So
yeah. What
was the company that did the backlight stuff again?
Freckle Shack. Ben Venn, 2 N's on both the Ben and the N. He's a Sydney based actually. So really good tutorial for that went up on Carl Awesome. That's the channel name. Did a really good tutorial for that. So if you're into Game Boy Colors and you want a backlight and a backlight where it's literally all you do is drop it in, cut away one piece of plastic with a like an art Sharpie.
I think they're making this I think they're making that completely non-intrusive now. Like the new one, I think is completely.
I could have thought there was one bit of plastic that got cut away, but I might be wrong. You can do it in your sleep though. Anybody could do it. You know. If you can take it apart, you can install this mod. That's how easy it is. So. I think that's going for pretty cheap, actually. It's going for 60
$80
AUD now. 60.
Oh.
And shipping on
here.
Really?
Yeah, that's depressing. Where are you finding yours then? Because that's not what I'm getting mine for. Yeah, that's what I'm on. I'm on retromodding.com, but it's redirecting me from that.
2 secs, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, because I'm only finding it for $80 US.
Okay, so the one I'm looking at now is 70 AUD, but that's the pre-order batch 3. He had a link go up this morning, which was the pre-order 4, which apparently you can't access via the site at the moment. But that was 60 AUD. It was $10. The $10 price drop that I was telling you about.
Right.
And I think they just reduced shipping costs as well. But anyway, Ben Venn is the original manufacturer and distributor based in Sydney. So if that floats your boat, check it out.
Oh, I found it. Yeah, 60 AUD, tax included.
Oh, and he's got the Carl Awesome tutorial listed on the actual buy page as well. So you can check it out, see how difficult it is to begin with before you put any money down.
I think they're expecting it to ship in June, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, the pre-order for the 4th batch pre-order, I think June, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, it has got the price drop listed on there, 60 for the 4th batch. I don't know where the link's gone for that, though. So, yeah, good stuff.
I'm going to close that tab down and look at that later, because otherwise I'm just going to be too tempted to buy it now. Yeah. Anyway, that's what we've been playing this week.
Welcome to Count's Shopping Channel.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell, let's not. Yeah, it's been 18 minutes, so let's crack on. Yes, that's what we've been doing this week. Let's crack on with the first story of the show. So Epic Games are pieces of shit, aren't they?
Oh, we're starting with a heavy hitter.
We are starting with a heavy hit. We talked about it briefly, or we brushed upon the topic briefly a few minutes ago, but Epic Games have been doing some not fun things to their employees, it turns out. In a report by Polygon, it is revealed that a very big chunk of Epic Games staff are being not forced, but encouraged to work 70-hour weeks, and some up to as much as 100-hour weeks. Bear in mind the standard working week is 40 hours, so
give or take a little bit, max, give or take a few hours. I know some people that work. I mean, a lot of them are marketed as 37.5 hours because you don't get paid for your lunch.
Yeah.
Well, I think mine's 42, but work 40 once you take off breaks, and even that is that's enough, you know.
Oh, I work 9 hours a day, but get paid 8 because technically we have an hour's lunch break, even though we're encouraged to not take it.
Oh well, I'm going to take all of it. That's
I tend to take mine now because fuck them.
That's a joke. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so, you know where Epic Games comes from by this point. They made Fortnite. Fortnite makes a lot of money.
Gears of War, Unreal Engine.
So, yeah, I mean, Epic Games have rapidly expanded over the last couple of years, and at this point, it seems to be getting a bit much for them because Polygon interviewed current and former employees of Epic, which included managers, staff, contractors working in development, QA, and customer service departments. Most of them full-time. They all requested to have their identities protected. Of course, that is their right, and that is fair enough. Because Epic requires that their current and former staff sign an NDA, which says everything you need to know, doesn't it?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
if you need your staff to sign an NDA to not disclose what you're doing to their staff, then you need to look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that's not good.
This is.
But yeah.
You can't do this, on a long-term basis. You can. I mean, I've worked jobs. You probably work jobs where you have brief periods of time where you're doing extra hours, or I worked in a job where we had to do painting at the weekends because we were painting stairwells and they were fire escapes, so you couldn't do it during the week because obviously people need to be able to get out of them. So we had to come in at the weekend and work, and that was a short period of time where we did that. And you can do this for a short period of time, but sustaining that over a long period of time, especially when you're talking about 70 hours a week up to 100 hours a week, people can't do that. And you will just burn them out.
In fact, in some countries, that's illegal.
Well, yeah, exactly. And so it should be. And this kind of, I saw Jim Sterling on this, and he was like, this thing about, we're not holding a gun to your head. You don't have to do this, but everyone else is. Everyone else is working these hours.
That's pretty much how the lunch break is treated at my work. They go, oh, well, you can take your lunch break. Most people tend not to.
Yeah.
So
encourage a working lunch at our company. Yeah. That's nice.
It's coercion. That's what it is. It's coercion.
I have a couple of points actually regarding it obviously not sustainable for the workers, but in terms of the business's perspective, it could well be sustainable.
Absolutely.
I believe anybody is replaceable. And there's always people looking for jobs.
Especially when you have a lot of studios closing down in quite quick succession, like we have done recently. That's a lot of people now looking for jobs.
Yeah, and I think, I think there's been enough stuff that's come out recently, or not even recently, over the years, and it's just getting worse and worse. I won't go too deep into this because we spoke about this on Pocket Edition a couple of episodes ago. Check it out. We went at length. We spoke about this. But I feel like these workers are probably trapped within this industry. They have a certain skill set that can only be used in this industry.
Yeah, there's not many other industries they could try and go into once they're done.
You can't really just say, well, if you don't like it, fucking get out. This is their trade. This is what they know. So, what are they going to do? So, and I'm sure it's the same across the industry.
This is the problem with the modern day job market, is they want everyone to be so specialised that they won't want to leave because they'll be afraid that they can't get a job anywhere else.
Yeah. And
because there's the amount of jobs nowadays that look for someone with a degree in a specific subject. They're trying to... This is conjecture. They're trying to get people to specialise to the point where if they'd feel insecure if they thought about leaving. That's what I think, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that. And like I said, I think the business, these corporations and businesses and studios, they know they can replace anybody. Like it's they could have half the studio leave and they'll fill those positions in the drop of a hat if they need to.
What you're doing,
it may not be the most optimal situation, but they would do it and they would survive. And like you said, Count, with your lunch break, I used to work at a place which I left, where I would work 3 hours off clock every single night when I worked nights, and it was never a case of them slamming me for not doing it or expecting me to do it. But what they would write me up for was the work that wouldn't get done, and it was only possible to get that work done if I worked for free, like 2 to 3 hours every day. So I imagine it's very much the same situation at Epic Games. And unfortunately, once you start falling into that cycle, it becomes expected and it's hard to break. You can't just all of a sudden put the brakes on. You kind of get eased into it, and then bang, you've shot yourself in the foot. So
and I think
can't
on that
give
note,
anything.
like even in this report, it's said, one of the employees said to Polygon, I know people who pull 100-hour weeks. The company gives us unlimited time off, but it's almost impossible to take the time. If I take time off, the workload falls on other people, and no one wants to be that guy.
Yeah.
And that's how they can keep up this pressure to be telling people to do X amount of hours, because, you know, if you don't do it, it's going to fall on everyone else, and they're all going to hate you for it.
It's the worst kind of psychological manipulation, isn't it? I mean...
Oh, it is.
I feel like they're treating the workforce not as people, not as individuals, but as just a resource. And you know, like
that's what you are.
I think
that is what they get treated as.
And
I mean, just look at HR, human resource like management.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? HR could easily be evil as just as much as it could be good, you know?
Yeah. But the thing is, if you treat people as a resource, resources can be, as you said before, resources can be replaced. You can bring in a new resource. So it's as you again said, it's quite okay for the company from their perspective to work people to the bone, work them until they drop, because once they drop, once they're unable to work anymore, you just ship them out and get new people in. And this is what we see as well. It's not only the crunch thing, it's the fact that a lot of these people are contractors. So they're hired as contractors on a project. They work on that project. They're worked to death, and then they're let go. And we've seen this with Activision. We've seen this with EA. They've let people go, and then they'll bring in a load more new people to work on the next project. And I
mean, I feel like that's almost a different beast altogether, because, I mean, you could argue that we should be avoiding crunch times, right? That's probably not a healthy practice, but like I feel like it's reasonable for a studio to flex up and down in terms of talent that it needs to get a game through crucial moments of its development. Like obviously, like just for example, to a point. Obviously, like a studio like just a big AAA studio, let's just say Naughty Dog or 343 Industries, you know, when they've just shipped a game, they probably don't need a team size of 300 staff to maintain and support that game. So what do? You know, do you increase the production schedule by twice, from 3 years to 6 years on half the team size? Like, I just don't understand how you escape some of these like contracting shenanigans that you hear about, Joe. Like, I don't have the answer. Like, but I understand why. Like, I just don't know how you fix that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you'd fix that either. And you know, I having known people who've worked contracting, if the environment's okay, you can, you know, contracting can be a good option. You know, as I say, I've got friends who work as contractors, not in the gaming industry, but some in the tech industry, and it can be a decent option because you've got that flexibility. But it's a requirement of the employer that they, you know, actually look at the employees as people, and they bring in enough people, because obviously if you're getting this kind of crunch, there's two problems there. One, you're having unrealistic expectations in terms of, you know, when things can be put out, when things can ship. And the other one is you may be not taking on enough people to work on those projects in the first place. So, you know, exactly. That's why you're getting this crunch. You've got unrealistic expectations and not enough people there to deliver them. That's how it would seem to be anyway.
That's part of the insidious nature of it, though. I think they're well aware that they haven't got enough people to avoid a crunch period. What it comes down to is not wanting to offer more salary packets or pay packets than they have to offer to get the job done. Like, they know that they
keep it to the bare
exactly,
minimum.
And they know from track record that they can fucking do it on this much money. So
but this is reflected very much in this report, because you know, the employee goes on to say the biggest problem that they're having is the fact that they're patching constantly. Executives of the company, they focus on keeping the game popular for as long as possible, especially because there's things like Apex Legends coming in, and it doing that demands the crunch periods. But at this point, it's a constant crunch because they're constantly trying to keep up and keep going.
Constant
I'll quote here,
DLC.
They'll quote, the executives keep reacting and changing things. Everything has to be done immediately. We're not allowed to spend time on anything. If something breaks, a weapon, say, we can't just turn it off and fix it with the next patch. It has to be fixed immediately while you're still working on next week's patch. In fact, let's go to Epic Games, because one of their representatives commented on the issue saying that people are working very hard on Fortnite and other Epic efforts. Extreme situations such as 100-hour work weeks are incredibly rare, and in those instances, we seek to immediately remedy them to avoid recurrence. Yeah, I'm gonna...
Yeah, what a crock shit.
Call a little bit of bullshit on that because it still keeps happening. So you're obviously not doing a good enough job to remedy them.
How many voices versus just his?
What they probably do is when they say they remedy it, they make sure that person never has a 100-hour week again, and then they just have someone else having the 100-hour week instead, and just keep going around like that. That's probably how they do it.
Or they take them aside and say, perhaps this isn't the job for you.
Exactly. But yeah, like, it gets to your morale. I mean, the guy, the source, he says, I hardly sleep. I'm grumpy at home. I have no energy to go out. Getting a weekend away from work is a major achievement. If I take a Saturday off, I feel guilty. I'm not being forced to work this way, but if I don't, the job won't get done.
Could you imagine the like, I've had this before with jobs in the past, like, you're in a position of management and you going away gives you anxiety because you're not sure what you're going to come back to or what you're going to get your ass kicked for.
What's the shop going to be like?
Yeah, like that's a real thing. Like his workload could have tripled while he's away, or something could have gone disastrously wrong and he's going to get pinned for it.
Or his workload will have been dumped on everyone else, and everyone else will be like, "Oh, I hate you, you fucking dick. You took time off."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's not a good environment to work in at all.
The thing is,
typically, Epic Games have had a completely boilerplate bullshit response to all of this, just saying Fortnite has achieved a far higher level of success than we had ever anticipated. Everyone throughout Epic responded to this success with incredible vigor and commitment. The Fortnite team rapidly expanded the game to grow the audience, and the Unreal team began a broad effort to optimize 60 FPS for 7 platforms. Others throughout the company moved to maintain Fortnite momentum. I'm sorry, none of their stuff really addresses the issues that are being brought up with this. They're just going, yes, this happened.
All they're saying is, yes, there was a lot of work.
We promised people were fine with this. Honestly, we're not going to say anything about the fact that this is an awful thing to be asking people to do at all.
The fact that you've got people coming out and talking about this, even if it's anonymous because they've signed NDAs. I mean, this should say everything they need to know, that this is a problem. This is not something that people are just getting on with and thinking it's okay. They're not. They're complaining about it when they get the chance. So obviously the management are failing on some level because they're creating an environment where people can't go to them and say, look, this is not right. I can't do this. The environment is discouraging for people to go and do that. And as a manager, you do have a duty of care.
As a manager, you need to be. As a manager, I personally think you need to bring yourself across as someone who the employees can confide in, who they can come to with any issue, who if they have any problems at all, like, they need to think that you as a manager are on their side and you can help them.
Yeah.
But so many companies don't do this, and in fact, we were talking about this earlier. Apparently, according to a different source, this person knows some people who just refuse to work weekends, and then we missed a deadline because part of their package wasn't complete and they were fired. People are losing their jobs because they don't want to work these ridiculous hours. So there's also an element of the management and all these kind of people setting ridiculous workloads and deadlines for these things that just are unfeasible with sensible working hours. I get that you want your game to remain up to date and popular, but you should not be working people these ridiculous hours for it.
It's like we need to start specifying in the law that, you know, you can fire somebody for not doing. Well, I mean, not that you can't work more than, but you can work more if you get paid for it, but you can't be fired for working or not getting a job done on an unrealistic time frame. But obviously that's hard to specify, like who sets those guidelines. But that's where we're at.
I do believe if an employee like that decided to take it to an employment tribunal, they would probably win.
Yeah.
But
but a lot of people wouldn't want to do that because then it would affect their future employment prospects.
Well, and that's it.
And because they're like, oh, this person's taken an employer to court. Oh, we probably don't want to hire them.
And how are you going to have the time to do that while you're trying to find another job as well?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just, but back to what Joe said originally about, needing more team members to avoid crunch periods. It just highlights grossly the greed, because like Fortnite is a juggernaut, and surely a juggernaut in terms of its revenue. Like, how hard could it be, like hiring even just 20 new team members to take the workload down from 70 to 50 hours, or I don't know how many team members. I mean, like how, like a year, like 50 extra team members over the course of a year. I'm like, sure, it might be what, 250,000 USD a year, but what are you making a year on Fortnite? Like, it's got to be astronomical.
Well, the thing is, they do bring in quite a lot of contractors, be it for 3 months or be it for, a year. But they just see these people as just disposable. In fact, apparently one senior guy, according to a source, would just call them bodies.
Oh, I heard that as well,
And would say something along the line of, just get more bodies, referring to contract workers. Because they're just these disposable people who bring in, work them to death, and then tell them to fuck off.
It really does make them sound like just worker ants or something like that. Like it's just...
They're less than human. They don't matter. They just come in and do the work for us.
Let's be clear here. When we're talking about highly skilled people, these aren't just some guy you get in to sweep round. I mean, fair enough. I've worked sweeping around buildings, but it's not a skilled job. You know what I mean? And you could probably get anyone to do it. God knows I've done it, so you could get anyone to do it. But these guys are skilled people. They're not just somebody you can just get from anywhere. That you should treat them with a certain amount of respect for their abilities and what they're capable of.
They've gone to university for this stuff, a lot of them. This isn't like... This is not unskilled work by any stretch of the imagination.
And yet they're being treated like, that they're just disposable, as you say, bodies. I mean, it's obscene, actually. The disregard that the statements from Epic seem to show. I think that says it all to me. That you've got people saying, I'm looking at a quote here on the what's the one? I think it's the original article, the Polygon. So I'm on Polygon. It's at the bottom of at the page. It's like the quote is, "It's killing people. Something has to change. I can't see how we can go on like this for another year. At first it was fine because Fortnite was a big success and that felt good. We were solving problems that were new for Epic. How to run a big global game as an online service. But now the workload is just endless." I mean, going back to the specifics earlier on when the guy was talking about breaking weapons, when you've got those kind of ongoing things that can go wrong with a game when it's an online service, you should almost have a dedicated team for that, and it should be there should be redundancy built into the model. So, for instance, you should have enough team members that you can have downtime, and then so when it's there's nothing going wrong or whatever, people aren't working as hard, and then all hands to the pump or whatever if you get an issue. But there's no redundancy built into this. It doesn't seem to be like these guys have any downtime at all, and any job should have downtime built into it. I remember years ago my boss was going on about we shouldn't have breaks because we were on a flexible contract or whatever, and I took in a page that showed some guy back in the 1800s had found that when he gave his staff like a short break in the morning and a short break in the afternoon and I think it was a half an hour for lunch, productivity actually went up because they were more capable.
I happen to know, actually, that's how Tesco do their break system. You get, well, not exactly like that. You get one sort of longer break that's about, I think it's an hour, and you get a shorter break that's half an hour. That's how Tesco do their breaks for staff.
What about like
reasonable.
Like is it Sweden or some of the Nordic areas? They reduce their work day from like 8 hours to 7 hours and now to 6, I think it is. And productivity went up.
Didn't go down; it went up, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think they were looking at reducing the amount of days in the week as well, to see if productivity would go up.
I heard one country wanted to reduce it down to 4. Yeah, I think it's a great. I don't think people realise. Especially these kind of companies, don't realise the value of a worker who is not overworked and is not overtired and stressed is infinitely more productive than someone who has worked for so long, in so many days in a row, is so tired. There's only so much you could try and squeeze out of people.
And that's the extreme example as well. But I think there's a lot to be said for, like, even if you're not stressed or you don't feel like you're overworked, just knowing that the majority of your life through the first half of it is going to be spent working is a bit of a downer, you know? Or like the majority of your week, you know, when you just get 2 days off, sometimes depending if you're on a casual basis, you might only get 1 day off because they spread your hours out over 6 days as opposed to 5. I think it would go a long way just knowing that, you know, if you have 3 days off a week on a full-time contract, you bring a bit of balance back between literal time investment into life and work. And I think that would go a long way just to, you know, bring in a lot of mental health, positive mental health about. So.
And these things as well.
But anyway.
These things don't. Sorry, Count. I just wanted to say this one last thing
Okay, go for it.
There's these stresses that happen to people. They're not short term either. I saw some stuff about this a few years back, where when you are put through these crunch periods, they don't just affect you for that crunch period. They have a knock on effect that will affect your mental health and your physical health years down the line. Because your body's not designed to take that kind of stress. Certainly not when it's ongoing. So this is having a detrimental. Sorry, go on.
So I was just going to quickly say, when you talk about trauma or PTSD, the type of a trauma that could be associated with like high stress periods, like crunch, they're circumstances where your psyche like can't really rationalize what's happened in terms of it being traumatic, and because it can't rationalize it, it will constantly reiterate it over and over and over again for a long period of time because it wants you to learn how to avoid that trauma again. Yeah. So when you get this kind of stuff, it's hard to, like you said, ongoing damage. That's what it is. It's hard. It's recurring. You can't avoid it because you can't kind of just easily go, oh, well, that's what happened. You know, I got hit by a car. Like, look left and right before you cross the road. Like, it's so much more subtle than that it kind of just, you know, it buries into your psyche. Yeah. So that's the worst type of trauma. Like,
yes. Well,
anyway, sorry, Count.
I think just one final point to wrap this up that kind of sums everything up. Epic Games currently employs about 1,000 people, and their website currently lists more than 200 vacancies, which is a fifth of their current staff count they have vacancies for, because probably a lot of people are quitting because of high workloads.
Yeah. Never work for a company with a high turnover.
But it's probably the truth. Nope, do not. It's a terrible idea. I've done it before. It was the worst job I ever had. Anyway, we've been talking about that for an incredibly long time. That was half an hour.
Are we going for a record on this one, I think? Holy shit.
Oh, we might well be. So, yeah. Don't work for Epic Games if you value your time and sanity. Anyway, let's move on to the next story of the show. I was about to start with, so China's a piece of shit, aren't they? But I think that might be a bad idea. Yeah. Let's get this video blocked in China.
Yeah, it depends what type of phone you have as well and who's listening. So they say.
Yeah. I love you all, honest. So China have, in their latest battle with censorship, decided that they're going to block all video games that contain blood, poker, and Chinese imperial history.
What does that leave?
It doesn't leave many games, I'm going to be honest.
Sports titles?
We're on about blood. Yeah.
Sports titles?
That leaves us with, even then, I don't know.
Eliminate boxing.
Well, the poker is based on, like, gambling, so you can't have a lot of the other games in because they've got loot boxes in them.
Yeah.
That does not leave us with a lot.
Man.
Even FIFA. FIFA's got loot boxes in it, so we can't have that.
I mean,
So
they
basically,
just got the
China
Xbox,
bans
didn't they?
games.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Almost. Can you imagine this? I thought the censorship was bad here, but wow.
Well, yes. Even weirder, apparently, they temporarily froze game approvals in China, and they blamed games for causing eyesight problems.
Doesn't this feel like a couple of decades ago with gaming in its infancy, like all these issues, like causing eyesight issues,
like the stuff you had in like the early 90s or whatever.
Giving your kids square eyes, like
Apparently, that even recently, after they decided to lift the freezing of gaming approvals, they chose to restrict playtime for children and enforce those rules using police databases.
Oh my god!
I would not want to live in China. What the fuck
neither.
is that?
I'd be in jail now for letting my kid play Fortnite as much as
Sure,
I
we're
do.
not talking about North Korea. Like, jeez.
I know.
Wow.
Well, so the approvals freeze has finally been lifted, but it's been replaced with a new process. But this new process is a lot stricter. So titles that have pools of blood, corpses, gambling, and quote-unquote imperial schemes will no longer be given licenses.
Okay,
Now,
so... Sorry, Count. Go for it.
Yeah, let's unpack that.
Okay, so... here in Australia, a lot of games have the blood removed, right? So there's been Mortal Kombat, there's been other games where there's just a filter to take the gore off. It's nowhere near as bad as what it used to be. There still is the odd game here and there, which, Mark and I scratch our head over going, why did this not get in? Like, why has it been blocked? A good example in recent memory was actually film, John Wick. The second one, we got it months after release because our classification board just would not allow it for some reason, even though we've had very similar violent movies, come and release without issues. So I guess what could happen with the Chinese market to get approval is every game that's released just has just the gore and blood effects turned off, and maybe when you kill someone, the bodies just immediately evaporate. I don't know, but I mean, we've seen that kind of workarounds before in terms of censorship. This is just at the most extreme end.
But when we're talking about workarounds, me and Joe discussed this before the show started. Older games used to change the colour of blood, so that you could get around those kind of rules, and those were still things. Apparently, in this instance, though, they've decided that pools of blood of any colour will no longer be accepted, so you can't use that as a workaround in these rules. There won't be any rainbow pools of blood anytime soon.
Yeah, I remember watching another censorship. I think it was for some Sega Mega Drive game where you couldn't have I can't remember the name of the game, but you'd hit people and their heads would just explode. Like blood would just explode out of the heads. And the way they got around that was they didn't just eliminate the head exploding and just have the bodies drop. You'd hit them and the enemies would just fling off screen.
Whee!
I'll see if I can link you guys the video. So
that's quite funny.
You looked like Captain America, just like hitting people like just around like they're nothing. So it's quite jarring, I'll tell you that. So you jump
having a sort of meaty fist fight for about 5 minutes. Whee! Off we go.
It's like Bloody Mary. White House has taken over the game industry in China. They've maybe
Why
resurrected
did you
her.
remind me that she existed?
Say again, sorry?
Why did you remind me that she existed?
Sorry. Hey, you
That's
White
not something
House.
I needed.
Haha, charade you are. Sorry.
At least we know, even if it's incorrect largely. I mean, you can argue all you want about gambling in games. That's probably a good arguing point. But in terms of like gore and violence in video games, like it's over the top censorship. But I mean, at least you could argue that they have the best in mind for their people, maybe, or trying to. At least it's a little bit more honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to protect them. They're worried that it's going to be damaging.
Yeah.
I think they use it. That's more of a front. That's why we're doing this. Honest. We're trying to help you.
What do you think it is then? Because I have no idea.
They're a really weird, oppressive country being oppressive because that's what they do.
Okay. Yeah,
I think that the giveaway here is the thing about Imperial schemes. The last one for me is the most worrying because
ridiculous.
In effect they're talking about it's a broad catch-all that means they can repress anything that talks about China that doesn't fit their image of China and how China should be.
Yeah,
and that's where you start getting into the real dark underbelly of this.
Censorship. Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Well, it's on the back of quite a lot of. There was quite a few soap operas that were based in, like Imperial China, and they were mysteriously taken off air a while ago in January. Because
so you think something might be
probably
happening?
Because it clashes with the values of China.
So do you think something recently has? I have no idea about their political landscape. Has something recently changed behind the scenes? Like, is that what you guys are trying to?
Well, the president, the president of China, they've changed recently. They changed the laws in China because they had a law in China whereby the leader couldn't stay on for after so many years. They had to leave.
Oh, and they've changed that, haven't they?
They've changed that. So in effect, now we've got a leader of the Chinese party, the government, whatever you want to call it, who can now stay on indefinitely. So we've created a situation where you really have a dictatorship now. It seems.
Yeah.
I
think Russia have done similar.
Well,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Hey, Putin can make anyone disappear that challenges him.
Yeah, and I think
let's not get onto that.
Yeah, that's some scary shit.
China has got a very dark record of doing things like that, and we don't hear about it quite so much about China because we've all been doing business with China over the last few years. But they've got a pretty dodgy record when it comes to human rights, you know, shutting down religious groups that don't fit with them. Look at all the stuff that went on in Tibet. And like I say, this whole thing about imperial schemes or whatever, it smacks of the Ministry of Truth, you know, 1984, which is extremely worrying.
Yeah. These things happen, but we don't want anyone acknowledging that they happened.
Exactly, yeah. It's only true if you can, you know, see it as true.
Yeah, it's not ideal. But anyway, let's move on to the last little thing then. Gambling. So this last bit comes off the back of a law change that's going to be happening in June, where poker can no longer be played online. They're cracking down on physical poker, and all social media platforms will not be able to promote poker in China. This is due to the fact that there's quite a large illegal gambling scene in China, and it's they have quite the problem with it. This is the one that I find most valid as like a reason, compared to the other two. Trying to ban gambling. I get that. The weird
Good
thing
luck
about
with that
it, though,
in China, though.
Well, yeah. The weird thing about it, though, is while they're banning poker games, which I understand, they're also banning mahjong games.
Yes, right.
I look
like,
at that
how
and
bad
going,
is your
what?
gambling problem?
Yeah, how illicit mahjong games.
You can take away our cars, but you can never take away our gambling addiction. They will find a way.
Oh, I love a bit of mahjong. I genuinely find that weird and slightly disappointing.
Apparently, they do like to have a gamble on virtually everything over there, though. It's like my dad used to say about my granddad, he'd bet on 2 flies climbing up the wall, you know?
But yeah, that is the most valid of the rule changes, and I understand that, but it's still a bit weird and strict. But yeah, so that's weird. That's China for you. That's the games market. But this isn't a market that people could just give up on, because apparently the Chinese games market is worth $30 billion in revenue, which is not an insignificant amount, and that's not an amount that that the games industry will just decide isn't worth it anymore.
It's a big market for anyone if you can crack it. Like I mean,
Adelaide... it's very much the same as the country's introducing loot box legislation. People were saying at the time, going, "Oh well, they'll just pull out of those markets." They won't. Those markets are still worth a lot of money, regardless of whether or not loot boxes are allowed in them. So
yeah, my AFL team, Australian football team, they go over to China now they've been doing it the last 2 years to do 2 exhibition games over there a year, just to try and generate membership revenue and trying to set up grassroots league over there. So, it's cool. I get why they're going over there. It's just that huge demographic. So, yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Huh. Strange and interesting.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think that's not really much else to talk about in terms of
China.
In terms of that.
No half measures.
China's a strange country. Yeah, they really don't do anything in half measures. So from probably June, you will no longer be able to buy games that contain corpses, pools of blood, poker, or Imperial history in China.
Do you reckon we're going to see a huge...
Of course.
Do you think we'll see a huge patch wave go through to try and keep games on the market, or...
Probably, but then we might not see them over here. They might just do local patch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just in the Chinese region, so it's probably not something that will be affected by. I just think it's very, very strange.
You might do, Sully, because your government will probably just look at the Chinese way of doing it. Oh, that looks good.
Chinese. Oh, look at those. Those are great rules. Let's do all of that.
Let's do that. No John Wick 3 for me. So.
Oh, that'd be
so close. Only days away.
Is it?
Yeah, May 11, I think. John Wick 3.
Blimey.
Here it is anyway. So they say.
Yes!
Yeah, right. Endgame tomorrow, John Wick 3 the day after.
Nice.
Get around it.
Anyway, that's that. Let's move on to the final story of the show. Guess what? Ubisoft have done a good thing for a change. It's shocking. I don't know how they've managed to pull this one off, but they've done a positive thing. Who'd have thought that was possible?
Not me.
Yeah, no, exactly. For those of you who don't know then, there was a horrible incident about a week ago where the Notre Dame Cathedral burnt down. It's not gone, the frame's still intact. And in a move that I both like and kind of don't like, a lot of companies have raised a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it's really quick too.
They raised several, I think it's, a couple of $1 million for it at least, if not more.
Wasn't there one individual guy who sent like millions or something?
It was like, it was a ridiculous amount of money. You know what really pees me off about people donating money to
because they could have donated it to literally anything else and solved a lot of issues, but they only care when it's this.
Yeah, well, I know. That's my other point was people always go like they criticize the donation because it's like a church. I'm like who cares?
I don't criticize the donation because it's a church. I criticize the donation because they could have done this at any other point to any other worthy cause.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see why. That aside, it's a good point. I can see why they're donating money because it's of historic value.
I can definitely see why. Yeah, I also see that side of it. This is definitely a worthy cause.
Absolutely. But the argument of
700 million apparently.
Oh, how much is it going to cost? Have we exceeded what is needed, or
I don't know.
They don't know. It's too early. I guess it's too early. It's probably still assessing it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, on that point anyway.
Let's get to the video game related part.
Yeah, Ubisoft donated a ton of money to the cause. I believe they donated $500,000 of their own money because Ubisoft is a French company. And in fact, another little side note on this is the fact that they're going to be using Assassin's Creed Unity, which is the subject of this story anyway. They're going to be using that game because it has a very detailed model of Notre Dame Cathedral in it as a basis. Like they're going to be using that as reference for the cathedral. I remember hearing that somewhere because the model in there is so detailed.
Wow, okay. That's cool. Like you'd think photographs would be better, but I guess if you have a moving 3D environment that you can move around. Yeah, or like exactly. I'm assuming they have probably, I guess, the geometry mapping. They would have had to have done that at some point for the building if it's that accurate. So
exactly,
they would have actually had to go there.
Assassin's Creed, at least Assassin's Creeds of old, maybe not so much now, were, they were lauded for their historical accuracy and the amount of detail that went into those kind of things. So I can imagine the model of a very significant monument like that would have a ton of detail. So that's
there you go. Score one for video games.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys been there before?
I haven't, but my partner has gone away today, and she's going to Paris with a friend. And they were going to go to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I managed to see it in 2016 when I was over there. Very impressive, breathtaking. Right.
Yeah, they were going to go to Notre Dame, and her first thought when it burned, I was like, oh, well, we're not going there now.
Fuck.
Yeah, apparently they're still going to go there, but obviously just to look at the...
Well, I mean, you can still see the front.
Burned out husk.
Nice.
Yeah, you can still see bits of it, so she's going to go see that, but she's obviously not going to be going inside it anytime soon.
I think it was mostly the back end that was damaged, I think.
Well, I think it was kind of basically everywhere, but I think a lot of the damage was more towards the back.
Did you see the thing about somebody said that, proof God exists because the gold cross didn't melt? And then somebody pointed out that wood burns at a much lower temperature than the melting point of gold.
I was going to say, do you not realise how hot it gets to burn?
And if God was that keen, why did he let the church the cathedral burn down? It's like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's it. How many other stories have you heard about churches collapsing on people? Earthquakes and stuff. People seeking refuge. It's like, jeez.
Oh, that's the fault of gay people, apparently.
That's beside the point.
Yeah, let's not go down this river hole. Just believe what you want to believe.
This is a gaming This is a gaming podcast. Let's not talk about it.
Not criticizing anybody. So
no,
I mean that
believe
honestly,
what you want. I don't give a shit. Move on.
Fill your boots.
Beliefs.
But Ubisoft continued their track of good things that they've done. Obviously, this doesn't make up for the infinite number of shit things that they've done, but that's beside the point. They kept up their good streak because they gave away Assassin's Creed Unity for a limited time. It's still available as we're recording. Depending on when I get this out, it may or may not still be available. I know it's going to be available until the 25th of April through Uplay.
That's
on PC.
Like tomorrow for you?
Yes. So they gave away Assassin's Creed Unity for PC on Uplay for absolutely nothing, which is pretty great. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a really great thing for them to do. And in fact, they've had to put out a tweet on the 19th saying, "This is to let you know we're performing scheduled maintenance on Assassin's Creed Unity to increase the server capacity because there's multiplayer elements." Wonder why? It's almost as if they've not really had to think about that game in 5-6 years, and suddenly, oh boy,
shit. Turns on back on.
Yeah, exactly. So its Steam page sits at mixed overall reviews, but that may well change because its recent reviews, it has had a reverse review bomb. It's had a ton of very positive reviews go to it.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all.
Yeah, a positive review bomb. Yeah,
Oh,
review bombs, if you don't know what they are by this point, you probably should. They are a practice where gamers decide to express their frustration, or in this instance, happiness, with a product through or the actions of a developer by posting negative reviews on their games. And I think this is the first instance I've ever come across where it's been a positive review bomb. I don't think I've ever come across another one before.
Negative, positive, it's all batshit crazy as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Review a game based on whether the game's any good or not extraneous elements. And, good for Ubisoft and all the rest of it, but this is nonsense.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, people are daft.
Weirdly, though, apparently, because Valve had brought in an anti-review bombing system, it filtered away negative Borderlands reviews because Borderlands got review bombed because of Borderlands 3 being Epic Games Store exclusive. But these positive reviews haven't been wiped yet by Valve's anti-review bombing system.
Oh man, that's so good, isn't it? Just goes to show it's only looking one way.
Yeah, probably. Bit weird.
Oh dear.
I wonder if this will trigger something else, like positive bombing will become a thing to spike sales or some stupid shit like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, well,
but
you can see it happening, couldn't you?
Well, it's a good way to get good PR for your company, and good PR generally leads to a spike in sales.
I have to admit, I've always been impressed by Ubisoft in a lot of ways, in terms of how they support their games. No, okay. I mean, my recent encounters is like this ongoing support for Rainbow Siege.
I'll give them some bits, definitely, like that.
Yeah, I think just they support their games well. I mean, I know this isn't a traditional case of that, but, it's a bit of feel-good news. There's just nothing that jumps out at me about Ubisoft that's super insidious like you'd get from Activision or EA,
You see, Ubisoft to me, they're not your Activision, your EA. They don't do these really, really awful things. They just do consistently annoying things.
Yeah, okay.
Like, just slightly annoying. That's how they seem to do it to me.
I'd agree with that, actually. That's how I feel about them as well.
I know
I don't have that hatred like I do sometimes with EA.
I don't hate them. I just expect more of them.
Yeah. I know they're pretty hot on the DRM stuff, which can get pretty annoying.
Pretty hot on the DRM stuff. They're pretty hot on the fucking deluxe editions because they're the ones that do all the flowchart deluxe editions. Started that bullshit.
You got the gold edition, the gold platinum something edition, the
platinum, the ultimate edition, the ultimateur edition.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think I just appreciate the support they give their games. So, I remember when For Honor came out, that was a bit of a hot mess. It didn't fly off the shelf according to my memory, and it could have been a swing and a miss, but the community kind of slowly grew and they kept supporting it. And look at Rainbow Siege, they got the looter shooter right with the Division 2. I mean, remember when I was holding out hope for that count? They got it right in comparison to everybody else, which is refreshing.
I think your view on the Division 2 is a lot more positive than a lot of other people's.
I'm comparing it to other recent looter shooters like Destiny 2.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm comparing it to is other looter shooters and their shortcomings, with the unsatisfying broken up campaign or the non-existent grind to the end game, which doesn't last long enough.
So basically, looter shooters are shit, but this one's not as shit as the rest of them.
I would say still has flaws, but I think it's the right direction a looter shooter needs to go in by a mile. So.
Okay. I know the direction looter shooters should go, but I probably shouldn't say. Sorry, to be fair, look, if it's your thing, like with the religion thing, if it's your thing, if you're into
enjoy
looter
what
shooters,
you want.
Play them, enjoy them, fine. It's just they're not for me. I find them a bit dull.
Yeah. Okay, well that's fair enough. I mean, just don't. A lot of people don't confuse looter shooter with games as service, because they can
Oh
go
no,
hand in
absolutely,
hand a lot of
yeah,
times,
no.
so.
They're not synonymous, but they
No.
frequently
They go,
overlap.
So
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate thing. That's what wrecks them, I think. Games as service crap. So
Yeah, I think we'd all be on board with that. The games as service is shit, and the sooner we see the end of that, the better.
Just chill the fuck out. It's like, we get it. You want money. Now where's our game?
Yeah, quite.
Pretty much. Right. Anyway, I don't think there's much else to say on this topic. I think we've covered it quite well. Wow, that was astoundingly loud.
I didn't hear anything.
Thank you. I had an advert for something just show up, and it was astoundingly
I thought
loud.
I'd dropped. I was like, I'm just gonna stay silent and be cool and see what happens.
Nope, it's a very, very loud advert. Thank you, independent website. Fuck you. Anyway, carry on. What did you say? Say it again.
Me? I didn't say anything.
Okay, right. Yeah, nothing else to say on the topic. I think it's, overall, you can criticise Ubisoft for a lot of things, but in this instance, they did a good thing, and hopefully, it'll help with the rebuilding of the cathedral with its reference. Other than that, though, I think that is a great time to wrap up the show. That brings us to the end then of this episode of the GameCast NewsCast, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, and share whatever you fancy, and our social links are down in the description. Thank you very much to my guest this week. Thank you to Sully.
Thank you.
And thank you to Joe, whose channel I will leave in the description, hopefully.
Cheers.
Hopefully.
Yep. I constantly forget. Just Google Joe Chip or YouTube. Search it.
Be careful. There's one other person that pops up above him who has like 2 subscribers. Yeah, so click the blue Joe Chip. I think so.
There used to be.
I've not seen
really?
This.
I might be wrong.
I thought that hit. I'm going to have a word with the hitman, because that hit cost me a bit of money.
No, he's top on my search list.
All right,
but yeah, it's the blue Joe Chip with 4,000 subscribers, not the one with the.
Oh no, the other kid's
X-ray.
gone. That's right, the other kid's gone now. It's fine. The hit worked.
Okay.
You got him, Joe. Good job.
Yeah, it worked. Money well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think let us say goodbye to what is the second longest newscast ever.
Oh, Joe, we've done it again.
Not quite got the longest. The longest was an hour and a half. Sully, you were on it.
Oh, boom.
Yes, it was about E3 predictions last year.
Oh yeah, that would have been
76 announcement.
Yeah, that would have been a big waffle on that one.
That was. So, good stuff. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you soon for something else. Goodbye.